Tuning into this episode of The Resilient Advisor. My name is Jay Coulter, and joining me for this episode is Robert Sophia, the CEO of Snappy Kraken. And we're going to talk about his firm's findings on their 2021 digital marketing report.
Our mission at Resilient Advisor is to have a significant impact on the retirement crisis by educating and empowering financial advisors to better serve their clients. We bring you industry thought leaders and experts to help you make a difference in the lives of your clients.
Robert, I am really excited to finally get you on the Resilient Advisor show. We had the opportunity to meet in person at the T-Theory conference all the way back last January. Man, the world has changed for us, hasn't it?
Hard to believe. I think that was my last conference, actually.
Yeah, it was definitely mine as well. Robert, are we going to have conferences again this year?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that have already been scheduled. Right now, if you try to book a conference, it's tough to find a place for it because a lot of companies are realizing where we are in this crisis, that people have a lot of pent-up demand for in-person experiences, and things are starting to get booked. So yeah, I think we're going to see it later this year.
Excellent. If you're watching this broadcast live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or even Twitter, if they're still allowing us to broadcast there after their recent shutdown of Periscope, please ask a question simply by typing in a comment and I'll pose it to Robert. We're going to talk through some of the findings that they found in their 2021 State of Digital Marketing. It's an incredibly comprehensive report. Download your copy of the report by visiting stateofdigital.report. That is stateofdigital.report. I'm going to pull up some slides here, Robert, and I'm going to speak to them to a degree because we have podcast listeners after we record this. One of your findings is around advisors not needing to just talk about financial concepts when they're posting on social. What did you guys find?
Yeah, well, I mean, just for a little background too, I mean, this isn't based on a small data set of maybe 100 advisors. It's not based on a survey, which is purely conjecture. This is actually based on over 38,000 digital marketing campaigns that were running all over the country with hundreds of thousands of visitors. And we looked at all the data available through Google. And what we learned was the top performing content was connected to the affinities and interests of people, which is really fascinating because if you look at this slide that you have up, for example, you can see that the majority of people that advisors are marketing to, which means it's the top 25% of income earners, it's people who are already in advisor databases as clients. So we're talking about the mass affluent, really. They identify with certain things. So their affinities include things like being cooking enthusiasts, being news readers, being wellness enthusiasts, being pet lovers. And when we learned that, it started affecting how we created content. So when you do little things like, for example, change a stock image to include a pet with a person, the campaign or the content will perform better. It will get more clicks. And this is not the kind of thing you typically think about. Same thing, cooking enthusiasts, right? If we know that is the number one affinity in our audience, and we're choosing between whether to represent a couple of people on a beach riding bikes versus a couple of people in the kitchen cooking, then it's going to cause us to incorporate their lifestyle into the imagery and into the messaging. And really your point that you have on the screen about, not only posting financial content, that really extends to what their interests are. So the number one interest is celebrity and entertainment news. That's out of everything they're reading online. That is the number one, according to over 30 million data points we looked at. And therefore we created a campaign called Celebrity Money Mistakes. Relates to personal finance, but it also ties into an interest we know they have. So when you get creative like this, when you mix the topics that people are really interested in and the affinities that they have into your content, it goes from being bland personal finance or investing content to something that they really relate to. And then your performance skyrockets.
I would imagine that's even more effective if you have a niche market you're going after because you're getting right on down into that niche and you can start playing on that. Is it fair?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's very true. I mean, when we build campaigns, a lot of times advisors will say things like, well, this doesn't feel like my brand. Sometimes that's what we'll hear. And we have to try to help them to appreciate that, okay, your brand doesn't completely align with your audience. This feels like your audience. That's what you want. So there are some things that have to really be in your brand. Like, for example, your brochure, your website, the videos that you put on your website. But then there are other marketing campaigns that are out there. And before people have a relationship with your brand, all they care about is themselves. They don't care about your brand. So make it more about them, about the audience, and then that will draw that niche in. So when we create a campaign that's designed for women, or that's designed for pre-retirees or technology entrepreneurs or millennials, like everything about that campaign, the font choices, the colors, the images, it's going to be designed for that audience. And that's how you really hack into better results. It can't just be about what feels good to you. It has to be about what aligns with the people you're trying to target.
One last thing on this particular item is somebody who works with financial advisors, thus I'm marketing to financial advisors. I run across folks and I'm not going to pick on any particular broker dealer, but let's just say I have a couple hundred folks from a particular broker dealer that are in my LinkedIn community. They all post the same things during the same week. Right? I have to think that's an incredibly ineffective strategy. Does your research have anything that validates my thoughts that that's probably wasted marketing?
Yeah, I mean, we actually built Snappy Kraken to help solve for that very problem, because over the years I've seen that again and again. And so we came out and we said, look, mass produced, mass published canned content will not do the trick for you. And a lot of advisors are spending a ton of money on platforms to just auto post for them. And that's exactly what happens. They auto post the same thing for the same people at the same time. With Snappy Kraken, we actually help them develop a personalized publishing strategy that's based on their audience and the best times for their audience. And we even create exclusivity in certain areas where people are marketing. So for example, if we have 10 advisors in a geographically concentrated area, all publishing the same ads for the same campaigns to the same prospects, we know that their ad performance is going to drop. Something called ad fatigue will happen. Everybody will see the same images. They'll realize and get confused about the market. They'll get burnt out on those. They'll think maybe all these advisors are affiliated, and it's not a good thing. So we actually will assign territories and only publish those types of content in those territories for specific advisors so they don't have that problem. And it does make a difference. I mean, our benchmarks are much higher than the averages, and that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, and that speaks to why the Snappy Kraken value proposition is so unique. I do want to get into that in just a minute. In fact, you guys have been very gracious to provide a discount to viewers and listeners. But before we get to that, one of the aspects from your report that kind of stood out to me is what's driving traffic. And I want to set the stage for this. I was at a conference 2 years ago that you were speaking at. We had not met yet. And it was almost like I was in the room for the previous presenter, and I just happened to stay in there, and I was working because you were going to talk about Facebook, and I could care less about Facebook. And I'm sitting there, and you started that presentation talking about data and the importance of Facebook and why you need to be paying attention to it because, and this is the important part, that's where baby boomers are. And Robert, that was the aha moment for me that I had Facebook all wrong, and the rest of the presentation, I was glued to every word you said. So tell us, as it relates to traffic sources today, 2 years later, where are you seeing results? Where do advisors need to pay attention?
Yeah. Well, if you think about what you need out of digital marketing performance, there's layers, right? At the very first layer, you have to create awareness. Then you have to be able to take that awareness and turn it into traffic. And then you have to turn the traffic into subscribers or opt-ins. And then you have to turn those opt-ins into meetings and those meetings into clients, right? So there's a whole process. All these things have to happen. So when you're looking at where the results come from, one of the first questions you have to ask is, which source is driving the most traffic? And we have the luxury of having tens of thousands of campaigns running for thousands of advisors all over the place, literally in every state. So we can see overall where they're getting their traffic. And the amazing thing is, we ranked these traffic sources, and I'm going to start from the bottom actually, because people overestimate the value of social media for driving traffic. And a lot of people talk about social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, social media, be on social media. But social media is about engagement. That's really what it was designed for. And people who go there and try to drive traffic are only very modestly successful, because it's not a great place to drive traffic. It's a great place to create awareness. So when you look at Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook organic posting, you can see it's like 4% of the traffic is coming from Facebook organic. 0.4% of the traffic is coming from Twitter. And it's just not that much. So where do you get your traffic? Well, what we found is, of all the sources when it comes to social media, the only way to really drive traffic from social media on any level is with paid traffic. So you can put ads on social media, and those are optimized. They actually get compensated to drive traffic to you. That they charge you for those clicks. So their platforms are designed to prioritize that in certain ways to get you traffic. So paid Facebook ads are the number one driver of social media traffic.
So
after,
go
yeah,
ahead. No, please.
No, and then, after that, like, if you look at everything else, the bottom line is there is nothing better than building your own email database. Getting email opt-ins, collecting email addresses, using that paid traffic and other sources of traffic to get opt-ins, because once you have an email database, you can continue to market to that. It is truly a gold mine. And 71% of the overall campaign traffic advisors are getting is coming from their existing email database. And that is where you really start to turn your marketing into measurable with results, with a real return on your investment.
So could we go a little bit deeper on the Facebook paid ads, just for folks in my audience? I don't have hard demographic information, but generally it's going to be Gen X, late baby boomer advisors, and they hear Facebook paid ads and they either think that's great, I'm going to have my assistant go figure that out, or that's going to be a waste of time. You and I both know that it's not. Could we at a high level walk through somebody who wanted to start doing it, the process that they need to go through? So how about a hypothetical example of an independent advisor in the middle of the country, Little Rock, Arkansas, that focuses on baby boomers or pre-retirees and retirees?
Yep.
What would they need to think through if they wanted to start leveraging Facebook to build their list?
Yeah. Okay. The very first thing is your audience. So who do you want as a client? And we can't just say people with money. You have to get more specific than that. It has to be people that are facing certain types of problems, specific challenges, are at a certain stage of life that need certain things from a relationship with an advisor. And you have to really understand the persona of who you're targeting. Only after you do that, and you have an exercise that has said, this is the person I want to target. This is their age. This is where they live. This is what they care about. This is the problem that they have to solve. Only then can you build what's called, or what we refer to as, an irresistible offer. And that's really the key. At the center of everything is you can run Facebook ads and drive people to your website and get very little return on investment. Very little, because they're not going to an irresistible offer. They're going to a place of general information, and you're not creating a way to get an opt-in successfully. So the key is to have an irresistible offer. It could be an opportunity to use a calculator. It could be a worksheet. It could not a brochure. It needs to be something that gives them the 5 secrets that they can't Google on some topic, right? Something that they have to have. And you have to tip that risk reward scale so that they see a high potential reward with a very low risk. And that's what I mean by low risk, is they don't have to give away too much. They don't have to give away maybe a phone number even. They can just give a name and an email address, and they can get that irresistible offer. So number one, who you're targeting, what do they need? You use that to build the irresistible offer that persona will respond to. Then they opt in. So now you have an email address, but advisors are so used to doing business traditionally, where there's a handshake and you look somebody in the whites of their eyes, and there's that trust. But online, they don't have trust yet. People are skeptical. They don't like or trust you. They merely opted into your offer. So now you need a process for taking people from cold opt-in to relationship, or as we say, from cold to gold, because now you've got to actually get them to like and trust you to the point where they want to have a relationship. They want to get you to personally answer some questions for them. So then you have to build a nurturing sequence, what we call an indoctrination sequence, to ultimately get them to book a meeting with you. And that's what it takes. I mean, you need a campaign for that. That means you need good ads focused on that audience, pointing people to an irresistible offer that drives conversions, followed by a nurturing sequence that drives relationships and starts conversations. Without that, you're just potentially making more noise online. And that's not what you want. You have to be very strategic. You need a complete sequence, a strategy for getting people from, the place where you're just an ad on their timeline to now they're actually meeting with you. And that's called a digital marketing campaign. And that's what we build. And that's what it takes.
Are you struggling to hold your team accountable? Do you struggle getting them to see your vision and drive results? The Resilient OKR system for financial advisors could be your solution. OKR is an acronym for objectives, which are your big inspirational goals, and key results, which are how you and your team are held accountable. This is the Silicon Valley method that drives growth at major companies such as Intel, Google, BMW, and Disney. Move your business results away from opinions and measure it with data.
Pick up your complimentary access to the Resilient OKR system for financial advisors by visiting resilientadvisor.com/OKR.
Let's use that as a pivot, and I didn't even plan that question, to talk about Snappy Kraken, the process, and what advisors would experience. And for viewers and listeners, the Snappy Kraken team are offering a 15% discount to anybody who signs up. If you visit snappykraken.com/Jay, you can receive that discount. Robert, tell listeners and viewers a little bit about Snappy Kraken.
Yeah. Look, we just hit our 5th year since we started mocking up this product on a whiteboard. Our actual 1-year business anniversary from our launch will be in September of this year. And we started out with a very simple vision, and that is to automate financial advisor growth, period. And I actually come from a practice. I mean, I'm licensed. I was the vice president of a firm where we grew assets from about 120 million under management to over 600 million under management in less than 5 years. And all I did was marketing. I launched a marketing program where I did all this stuff custom for advisors, ran that for 7 years. Snappy Kraken is a result of almost 20 years of experience doing nothing but advisor marketing. And the team that I have, what we've done is we've figured out how to really automate that whole workflow. So you kind of, it's nice how you're scrolling through the site there, Jay, but it's basically, how do you, number one, get noticed? Number two, generate new contacts. Number three, build trust and credibility. Number four, start conversations with those people. Number five, turn them into a client. And then number six, expand and deepen that relationship and drive referrals. And all of that is what we use, a combination of content and technology to accomplish.
Yeah. Your website is fantastic. I enjoyed just scrolling through it while you were talking. When I'll have advisors reach out and say, hey, Jay, I'm thinking about hiring this company to do this or this company to do that. And if it's related around helping them with their social strategy, I always say, well, go look at their own social accounts and see how they're doing. And typically they're not. You guys don't have that problem at Snappy Kraken. So you guys have built a great brand in a very, very short period of time inside the industry. Tell, for advisors that are new to Snappy Kraken and what it delivers, what is their advisor experience like the first 90 days when they come on board? Because I do believe that's a unique value proposition you guys have.
Yeah, it matters. I mean, you're implementing a new tool. Advisors, I mean, we all know they have enough tools already to try to manage. And now here's something else for the technology stack. And that can be overwhelming. So we really try to make it as easy as possible. But to be clear, this is a program. I mean, it's not set it and forget it, because I'm sorry, but set it and forget it just doesn't work. The only thing that will ensure is that people forget it. So you can't just swipe a credit card and expect all your marketing to be done. It doesn't work that way. So we have a program. And what it is when you come on in that first 90 days, we help you integrate all your social media accounts, configure your email sending domains for maximum deliverability. We train you. We have what's called a 90-day marketing accelerator, and it's 12 weeks, an hour a week, that teaches you basic principles of digital marketing. We assign you to a team of success specialists who help you implement our program. And the goal is really that over 90 days, you or someone in your office, hopefully, who's capable and tech savvy can do this for you, will become a consummate, active, progressing digital marketer. And it's a combination. It's Snappy Kraken is really three things. It's technology, it's content, and it's people. It's people who help you. And it's those three together that really make it different from other programs. I mean, there are website companies that do digital marketing, and it's just kind of like you pay extra and they just publish stuff for you. Like this isn't that. It's really, you've got coaches who teach you and train you, but they don't do the digital marketing for you. It's not that. It's really a hybrid. It's like, here's the tools, here's the resources, and here's the people who help you put it all together.
Yeah, I can tell you from the experience of my clients, both the tech forward advisors and the advisors who struggle with it, they've had great experiences with your firm. And I think the reason is the onboarding process. Because I've seen other tech providers that are supposed to help you with the marketing. Like you said, Robert, they get the credit card and then they've got you for a period of time, usually under contract, and they don't really try to help you drive results. So I do think that's a differentiator there. If you'd like to get a 15% discount on a Snappy Kraken subscription, please visit snappykraken.com/JAY. Robert, let's go back to the report. So in there, you guys did some research based on all the data points you have on the top performing lead generation campaigns last year. What'd you guys find?
Yeah, well, it's actually nothing that should be really too surprising to people, but I think this is an important concept to inform a strategy. So if you look at what the top performing campaigns are, I mean, the first two are about retirement, success, and Social Security. And we were in a year with a lot of uncertainty. People are always wondering about Social Security claiming strategies. Those are the top performers. But interestingly, those two top performing campaigns only accounted for about 15% of the traffic total. So although they were the top performers, if you start to look, you see, okay, hidden tax opportunities, end of year tax opportunities, estate planning, more specific times related to COVID, another tax opportunities that's seasonal. Then you've got Medicare, retirement, again, a couple of topics. And then way down, number 13 is divorce, 401k opportunities, business owners. So when you look at that, this represents over 90% of the traffic that advisors received was from the top 15 campaigns. But only 15% of the traffic roughly is from the top two. Here's the point. You cannot rely on a single marketing campaign. So here's what advisors will do. They will pay an agency 10 or 15 grand to build them a funnel, a campaign, and they put all their horsepower behind it. But that's not how you maximize your opportunities. You actually have to run multiple campaigns, some that are timely, that are fresh, that address current issues, some that are more about stages of life. And so the advisors on our platform getting the most traffic, they are using a combination of 10, 15, 20 campaigns at the same time, all running for different audiences. And each of those campaigns is driving a trickle of activity. And that trickle of activity turns into a flood of activity. The ones who get on our platform and just launch one campaign, or they say, what's the number one campaign? Or the ones who've gone out there and spent a lot of money to build one campaign, you can't hang your hat on one thing. And that's really what this taught us, was a variety of topics, different angles, even on the same topics. Like there's I think there's 3 tax campaigns, but one is an evergreen campaign, one is a year-end campaign, one is a tax season update campaign. All 3 drive traffic, but for different reasons. And that's where you start to become really successful at digital marketing is you've got this, you might be a CDFA and you might be helping people who are in divorce, but that's not the only thing you market. Or perhaps you're missing out on a lot of opportunities. So we try to help advisors figure out who are all the people they want as clients, and then market to those people individually in different ways.
Gosh, Robert, there's a lot of gold in there. 10 campaigns. So if I'm an advisor and I haven't even started touching digital marketing, and this isn't meant to be a softball, this is an application question. How does your tool help them run 10 campaigns at the same time when they haven't even run one?
Right. Well, that is what our tool was created for. I mean, when I used to do this myself at a practice with my marketing team, I would have to come up with the audience, come up with the content, write the content, design the content. I use freelancers too, but publish the content, manage the content, optimize the content, constantly retool what's working, double down. What's not working, drop it. And I'm trying to manage 10 or 15 campaigns using literally a technology stack that included a landing page program, a hosting program, Adobe design software, different programs for tracking and reporting, another program for emailing. That's what you have to deal with. What we've done is we've basically built all that into one tool, and then we build the campaigns. We build all the campaigns, and we test them. We prove the results, and then we publish them for advisors. And then they can just go in and basically shop for a campaign like you shop for a movie on Netflix. Pick a campaign, hit launch, edit it if you want to, or launch it as is, which is really usually better for performance. The advisors who make the most edits seem to struggle the most. But if you just use it because we've already proven it, then you can you put your branding in it, you make any really essential changes, and you launch it. And you can actually launch a campaign that takes about 200 hours to build from scratch in less than 10 minutes. And that is the value prop, really. It's like you could spend an hour a month and queue up all your marketing campaigns for that month. And every month we put $50,000 worth of fresh campaigns on the platform. So you're going to get, the minute the market drops, you're going to get a campaign about that within a week. The minute that, when GameStop was on fire and all the advisors are getting calls from their clients, should we be buying GameStop? We had prepared content to help explain that and published it on our platform over the weekend. So advisors had it on Monday morning when they showed up in their office. And that's what we do. We're like a full agency. I've got a content team that's basically 11 people, always building out this content and putting it on the platform for advisors. And that saves them a ton of effort.
You guys have been very innovative your whole existence. You guys have some new things coming out, a recent partnership, and then you have some stuff in beta. What are some of the things on the horizon for Snappy Kraken?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, we've gone from a startup environment to a hyper growth mode. So we're doubling our staff this year. We've got 40 people now. We'll easily be to 80 by this time next year. That is all going toward R&D. So we're doing a lot of integrations. We've got all the major CRMs are either already integrated or in the process of integrating. Also, top financial planning tools and other resources that advisors use regularly. We're trying to make the process of getting data in and out of our system for marketing purposes even easier. We're adding new channels. So right now in beta, we have a incredible text message marketing application, unlike anything in the space. That is the #1 fastest read, most opened channel for communication. We're going to help advisors do that in a non-spammy way to really connect better with clients and prospects.
Robert, what's the time frame for that deliverable?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's in beta right now. So I think there'll be a full-scale launch here within 60 to 90 days tops. Yeah.
Excellent.
And that's not all. I mean, we did a deep integration with advisor websites. Our experience, advisors keep telling us that they go to all-in-one solutions to try to get digital marketing on a website, and they feel like then they're stuck with their website, even if they're not happy with the digital marketing, or the company cares more about websites than they do digital marketing, and they struggle. So we integrated with advisor websites. They are best of breed at what they do. Now we've got 2 companies that focused exclusively on their craft. Top website company, top digital marketing company, deeply integrated. So all the data passes through and you can launch campaigns from your website. They automatically integrate with your website. And all of this is designed just to really at the end of the day to make the advisor's experience as easy as possible and as effective as possible. Big data integrations to make the content smarter. There's really just so much on the horizon.
Yeah, you guys are incredibly innovative. Two more things from your digital marketing report that I'd love to just bring to the audience. I know we're running over on time, but this stuff is great. So you and I are having this conversation on video. I'm actually a pretty shy person for somebody who produces as much video content as I do. And shoot, this is even live. But the
Well, you're a good
reason
example then.
well, the reason is it's real simple. I get results with video. What did you guys find as it relates to advisors in video, and what do they need to be paying attention to?
Yeah, well, this is, if you get nothing else out of this time that we've spent together, you want to level up your marketing game, pay attention to this, because just take a look. There's a lot of data I could cover, but what we do is we actually don't just teach advisors to publish videos, because just putting a video online doesn't ensure people will see it. You have to also drive traffic to that video. And then I'll also add to that, to get people from watching a video to being a client is another leap. So how do you get them to go from watching that video to submitting an inquiry? And so we've pioneered a method that we actually we give advisors the scripts, we teach them how to record the videos, they record them, we put them on a landing page with a form where people can submit their questions. So they submit their questions, that question becomes a lead for the advisor. So when we created this concept, advisors started using it. We started tracking the data. It's been about 1.5 years worth of data now. And again, over 38,000 campaigns. So a lot of volume to look at. What we found, look at the open rate. So you got on the left, you got open rate, on the right, you've got click rate. If you send people an email with a video, the open rate is 20% better immediately. 20% better open rate with a video. However, if you look at the click rate, so this is the cool part. Look at the difference. The industry average click rate for an email from an advisor is 2.72. Now that's not Snappy Kraken's average. Our average is actually higher, but that's the industry average. So that's really the best comparison point for this. 2.72% of the people that open an email from an advisor actually click on anything in it. Our video emails, 42.6% click. 42.6%. So when you think about that difference, I mean, what do you want people doing? You want them engaging with you. You send out a video. It's your face. It's your name. It's your personality. It's everything that makes them choose you as an advisor on display. Your expertise, everything about you right there in front of them. And you can get almost half of the people you send an email to click and watch your video. Man, like that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer.
Right? That's right. So I'm curious for my own edification, because I do produce all this video. Most of it sits on social. The YouTube page is growing, but sending it out, do you send it out as a link to a YouTube page? Do you use some software that has it embedded with some type of GIF? What are some of the best practices? Yeah.
So think about that for a second. You send people a link to YouTube. What's your best case scenario? They get to your YouTube page and they watch your video.
Right.
Maybe they then click on somebody else's video promoted and they're gone. So I'm not saying that's wrong. Put your videos on YouTube. That's actually what most of our advisors do. They put them on YouTube. But then you drop that link in Snappy Kraken. Now you embed that video on a page. And that page has a title, an intriguing headline. It features the video, and right below it, it says, do you have a question about this video? Click here to submit it. They type in their question, they hit submit, it asks them for their email address and their name. Now that page gets promoted on social, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, by email to your old prospect list that's not doing anything right now. They get your video, they submit their question, and now you've just taken a video viewer and turned them into a fresh lead. Because now they said, hey, that was a really interesting topic, but what about Roth conversions? Okay. So then now you've got do you think taxes are going to go up? Now you've got an opportunity. So the best practice is put the videos online, but make sure you also put them somewhere you can use for lead capture, and then drive the majority of the traffic to that place. The ones that are online, let people stumble across them. Let them help you with SEO. But if you're trying to drive performance, which that's what we're all about, then drive the traffic to the place that's designed to generate a conversion.
Excellent. I got to rethink my whole video strategy, but That's why I follow folks like yourself. And, as part of your report, what I really liked is the survey you did of 36 of the top industry professionals, and they weighed in on what they thought had the most impact. And actually, I should let you describe what you were trying to accomplish with this survey. What stood out to me are the names on here. They're folks who've been on the show or people I just, quite frankly, stalk to learn from them as it relates to digital marketing. This truly is the best of the best. So tell me, what did you guys find?
Yeah, I did this actually out of curiosity because I wondered if the data would align with what the experts think. That's what I was curious about. And it's pretty close. It's pretty close because when I looked at the averages, and I had them basically rank every marketing channel or activity in order of importance. And ultimately, I was fascinated to learn that the number one most important thing that they recommended was email. And email marketing people think email's dead or whatever. Like, all of our data shows that email marketing is the most powerful traffic driver and most powerful conversion channel and everything else. So they were right about that. They also said marketing automation. We found that to be true. You cannot successfully nurture a digital lead without automation because there's not enough time in the day. So to really scale your marketing efforts, you have to automate it. They knew that. Video, number 3, absolutely. So just as you look down this, what I found was that they really get it. And some of them I think were off base, but the overall averages, it showed that the industry has some methods that the experts are learning and recommending that align with the data that we found. If you're not focused on email, if you don't have an email and marketing automation strategy, if you're not using video, like those, start there. Everything else after that, great, but start there. Those are your best opportunities.
What stood out to me was what was at the bottom of the list: radio, publishing a book, direct mail, all the old-fashioned ways of marketing. In your opinion, and I know it might be skewed a little bit given your company, are those dead, or can they still be incorporated in a marketing program?
No, they're not dead. And Jay, I'm not the type of person who just believes in our own strategies. Like, what I actually believe is that anything can work for anyone, and it matters more what works for you than what the experts say. I really believe that. That being said, it depends on where you are in your career. It depends on where your business is. It depends on how well you do those things. I mean, there are people with a personality so big and a voice so great. I'm not one of them, but they can run a radio show or a podcast and just suck listeners in. They're great hosts, and they just build an audience. And then there are others who say, I heard podcasting is great from that guy, so I'm going to do it too. And they're not good at it, right? So it doesn't work the same for them. So digital marketing is something anybody can do because you can scale it. It's automated. We're doing a lot of the research to make the content work. But things like a book, do you have anything meaningful to say in a book? Is it going to be a book people want to read? Is it going to be a book that builds your credibility? Or are you just going to shell out $50,000 to some company to write a book that's not really any good to try to get credibility, but you don't even have an audience yet? So, it's really about, these are just channels. They're just tactics. What is the overall strategy? Who are you? What are you good at? What do you love? What is your audience going to love? And at the intersection of those things is where the magic happens.
Robert, you've been very gracious with your time. We've gone way over what I promised you. You've done nothing but drop gold for listeners in here. We appreciate you coming on, sharing all of that data. And for viewers and listeners, if you'd like a 15% discount on your Snappy Kraken platform, head over to snappykraken.com/J. Thanks for coming on, Robert.
It was my pleasure. Thank you, Jay.